Good morning, and here we are again. I'm just doing a little more on this commission. These two beautiful dogs, starting with the first one. And just darken these eyes a little bit more. I'm starting off with this. This is dark indigo, and then you go back over the top with the black, using very light pressure and just small circular strokes around this edge. Yeah. Okay. And then the side, and then the highlight green. The highlight is dark. Okay. Okay, so I'll do that for now. Let's move on to the nose a little bit and put a little bit more darkness in here. Again, I'm just using small circular strokes with light pressure. So I'm holding the pencil quite far back, as you can see. That way I'm not able to put on too much pressure, which is a good thing. It's coming up there. Okay. And across this side. And this. Put this bit in here as well. Nose centre there. A little bit of dark on there. So we build this up just gradually by layering. It's the best thing you can do, really. So if you go into thick straight away, you just kill the tooth of the paper, and then you really are restricted to how many more layers that you can add. So along with that, I'm going to use another look on cold grey. So I'm going to use the cold grey fold on this bit here, and then on the rest of the nose. These little bits here at the bottom, they're the highlights. So I want to keep them nice and fresh. Okay. And now just putting in some mid-tones. And here it's a bit darker on this side. And coming down this central piece here. All this will be darkened up. Just get some mid-tones in for now. Put some of the dark tones in. So again, I'm using circular strokes with light pressure. I'm just building these layers up bit by bit. Okay. I need to go a lot darker for now. I'm using the mid-tones. I can go back over the dark tones as well. Okay. Black and white. So the majority of the light section on this nose is sort of here. So this mid-tone can come a little bit here as well. Okay. So I'm just going to blend all this together now with the white polychromos. The white polychromos is transparent, so the colours from underneath will show through. It may lighten them slightly, but nothing too much. And at this early stage, it's not really relevant. So it's just really to blend the colours together a little bit more. Okay, I can go over the highlights there because this is white. Though they will need darkening as well when we get a little bit further in the project. Okay, so let's move back up and look at the fur. And I'm trying to accomplish getting in a lot of the darker areas, sort of blocked him again. I'm not going in too dark. I'm going to use a mixture of dark sepia, the black, and I've also got sort of Payne's grey and a dark indigo for certain places. So I'm going to be using a mixture of these pencils to block in. But first of all, I'm going to use the black very lightly. In fact, no, I'm going to use the Payne's grey. It's got a more of a bluey tinge to it, up this area here. And I'm going to block in where I can see some of the darker areas. And I'm going to do it by using short backwards and forward strokes and in the direction of which the fur is going. And I don't want to go into the lighter areas of these waves and curls that's on the hair. I just want to sort of put a little bit more, reinforce some of this darker section. Okay. So it comes into this lighter area here, which again will be darkened up. And don't forget, just keep your eye on your reference photograph for any change in direction. So that is coming up there, but then it's also turning this way. Okay. Now in this area where it's more solid and dark, I'm just going to use backwards and forwards strokes so that we get a feathered edge on both sides of each of the hairs. I've got a little light hair coming over here. Little stray white hairs coming through there. Okay. Into this side. Just pulling this into the white or lighter fur there. Again, following the direction for. It's coming right over there. We've got some very dark areas here. Some not so dark there, so just release the pressure a little bit. Very dark area underneath the eye. Into this section here. A little bit lighter, but it's getting darker as we move this way. And it's going in that direction. Okay. And then let's have a look around the nose area. We've got some longer bits of fur again. And some darker sections here. That section going up there. Something across here. Not quite so dark, so okay over there. A little bit of dark area here. I'm just looking at these curls and just trying to get some of these, some of the shadow areas where the curls are light on top and then they get darker as they go nearer to the skin for the shadow. I'm building these darker areas up bit by bit. Okay, so now I'm going to go back this time with the black. Again, just lightly going over this area. Back down here. It's a more solid colour. I'm just going to go with lightly black backwards and forward strokes so it gets that a little bit darker. This side. Reaching for the direction of the fur. It's very dark under this eye. Even this light section under the eye is going to be darkened up somewhat as well. And it comes down here. This is where we have our curl. Right, yes, I have gone a little bit darker there, so well, let me just take some of that out. That's better. That's coming down that way. See, by working in light layers, you can make sure you don't make, you know, if you go by light layers, you can erase easier. So yeah, the curl is a little bit closer to his eyelid. This side's okay. And then we've got a few dark strands coming here. And following the direction of the, which way the fur is going. Some of these are stray hairs, so they'll be sort of a lighter tone. I'm just really going over these darker areas that I put in earlier, just to reinforce them. There we go. And there. There. Just loose fur. And this bit here as it comes down, joined onto there, and that bit there comes in. There we go. There. So I'm only working sort of this side there. So now I'm going to put in some mid-tones. So I need the cold grey 4 again. Yep. What I'll do is I'm going to put in some of the mid-tone areas. So I'm just really now avoiding all of the highlights. Okay. And also I'm going over some of the darker areas again, just so that they can blend in a little bit more. Okay, so mid-tone here. Comes up here. Two of the paper showing through now, so you can see that quite clearly. But doing some blending soon, and just keep building up the layers. And by building them up lightly and slowly, all of this here is mid-tone. So it comes down here. Okay. It's mid-tone color here. Mid-tone coming over from this curl here, where the dark is, coming into the light. And then appears like mid-tone. Light areas popping through. Okay. Mid-tones around here. Okay. What I'm going to do now is the one, the cold grey one that we started with is the base layer. I'm now going to go over there, the light areas as well. And then what this will do is blend it all nicely. So I'm using a mixture of backwards and forward strokes, but also circular motion, circular stroke, just so we can get this blended. Okay. So very light pressure, I'm holding the pencil back again. And these lighter areas, the highlights are still going to have to come darker. So we're just putting another layer on and we're just helping this tooth smooth out the tooth slightly. I want to flatten it, but so that's why we're using light pressure. And then what this is going to do is sort of help blend all the areas, the light, mid, and the dark tones slightly. So it's going to just blend them nice. Okay. I'm going to take this over the dark areas as well. Into this area here, which is lighter. I'm using backwards and forward strokes here because it's a more solid colour. We will be putting other colours in there as well, but don't worry about any of these little stray hairs and what we can put them in later with a well, I'll be using a slice tool, but you can use a mono razor or some blue, some malleable rubber eraser. I find the slice tool or craft knife are the best solutions for that. Okay, around here, this is all right here. Now we've actually got, let me put this mid-tone back in here. This actually comes out there. Just reshaping some of this. Okay. And then got a dark tone that comes. Okay. What I'm going to do now is repeat the process until we get a nice, sharp, some nice dark rich colours in here. Again, I'm just using very light strokes. I'm looking at this nose, it's got some blue in it. I'm actually just going to put a very light layer. This is sky blue. It's going to get darkened up though in a while, but just for now. I just want to get this blue in there. And also around the side here where the highlights are. Okay. And then I'm going to use this dark sepia just to darken up. So from under this highlight and around there. This bit here is dark. It's a little bit lighter as it comes up there. So just keep checking your reference photograph very closely. And then on the top here, we've got some more dark. It's not quite as dark as the actual nostril. So I'm using the dark sepia again. Putting that down here. And then there's a dips a little bit there. And then back around this side. Again, not quite as much as dark. So just putting a few more lines there. Okay. Then I'm going to go over it with some indigo. Dark indigo, should I say. Again, light pressure. Mm -hmm. Mm -hmm. See, the nose now is darkening up nicely. Now we'll go back with some black into the nostril there. And then again, light pressure. Mm -hmm. And then I'm going to use this color grey 4 mid-tone just to sort of blend this area in a little bit. Mm -hmm. Right, the nose has got some texture on it, so I think what I'm going to use is, let me have a look. So you could use your mono eraser or a blade if you wanted to, slice tool, something like that. I also have this eraser, which is, it's a battery one, but I'm just using a little bit of sandpaper and I'm making it into a point basically on the end. Got a nice sharp little point, nice and clean. And then what I'm going to do is I'm looking at the texture, which is sort of, so just randomly putting some texture a little bit down here as well as the nose comes out into this lighter area. The texture here. The line there, some more texture here. you need to just clean it off. I just rub it on some paper, let it go on some paper. And just, oh, now we've got some texture on that nose. What I'm going to do now is use a little bit of white. In fact, I'll use the Pablo white, but my paint. Just going to put some of these marks in a little bit more. You can see them a little bit more. Okay. And then I'm going to go with the black very gently. I'm going to go around some of these marks just to give them a bit of shadow, just so it makes them, you can see them better on the, and in between this, in the highlight and shadow of the nose area, just below the nostril. And again, just around some of these little marks so that the markings stand out a little bit. And open that bit there. Okay. The great called grey 4 on there. Okay. You can see now he's got a highlightish, so his nose is quite lit up there and then underneath the nostrils as well. Right, back to the fur, and we'll just keep chipping away, making this where it's darker, and then so using small backwards and forwards strokes, sharp pencil, just around some of these little hairs here, and where, which direction they're coming in. And it's really dark in this corner, so I'll just put the, again, lightish pressure, just going over the area, get as dark as I can. Okay. And look a bit lighter coming up here. Again, that lovely. And we've got a bit of really dark here a little bit. Large dark area here. So a little bit lighter than that. So we'll put some mid-tone there. Okay. And then we've got these bits that curl out just here. With some mid-tone in between. And disappear into this lighter area. Okay, we've got a little bit of a dark area there. We've got some dark area up here. Dark area. Mm-hmm. 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 Getting nice and dark now. Um, some of these dark areas down here. between some of these curls. The dark here. Right, I'm going to put a bit of dark indigo in this area because we have got with the light. There's quite a bit of a fact. There's actually like a purpley tone to it. So what I'm going to look for. Let's have a look. Um, Delft blue, I think, underneath some of these areas of green. And we can go back over with the dark colour. It should give us the colour that we're looking for because these are translucent. We can get, and also by adding these other colours, it makes the darker areas a bit darker. And if we put just a little bit in here as well. You can see it's darkening that area a little bit now. Touch that over here. Let's go over just here. Where I can see this purpley blue tinge, I'm actually going to be putting some of this Delft blue. It's polychromos one. These down here get a little bit darker, more grey. Some blue tinge here. In fact, this bit around the eyes a little bit bluer, so purpley blue. So put that in. So that's dulling that down a little bit as well. Okay. And then a little bit in the nose as well, I think. Okay. So now we go back to the cold grey floor. Fill in some of these mid-tone areas. Keep looking at the reference. So there's a light edge on there. Then this comes a bit mid-toning. Again, I'm doing the mid-tones and then putting that over the darker tone area as well, so it smooths that. So it's like a transition from the dark to the light. So we'll go, okay. Put some stray hairs out. Now, if we go over some of the highlighted areas, it doesn't matter too much because what we're going to be doing is we can take some of the, retake some of the highlights out using an eraser and also the slice tool. So I'm going to get these, I want to try and get this paper smoothed out a little bit more. So this is where the sort of the end of the ear comes. I'm looking actually here at two reference photographs. I've got one of the dog that was sent by the customer just before he was groomed, and I've got one where I can see his eyes a little bit better. So I'm mixing and matching basically, but to get the same dog. And the eyes are the characteristic of the dog, the personality. So this black pencil now is going on a little bit more like butter. It's a lot more. So we should start to see some smoothing out now of these areas. Okay. It's really dark over his eye here. The trait with these dogs is that their eyes are very, very dark, and they are sometimes hard to see. But obviously for commission purpose, we need to see these eyes. So just make them a little bit more prominent. Okay. A bit more dark in this area here. And we're now seeing that the eye is starting to go back in, and you can see that the black is coming up and around his eye. So his eye is sinking now back into his face there. Isn't quite as dark. It's a bit darker there. Right then, so that's a little bit of the face done. We'll keep working away on the fur, and I will show you some more as we progress further down. Okay, well, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next shot.